Teen mom gives birth to a baby that can breathe underwater. How is this even possible? To find out, watch the video to the end. But first, please subscribe to my channel and turn on notifications to get more stories like this. The water glistened under the bright lights of the hospital birthing suite. Alyssa, just 17 years old, gripped the edge of the birthing tub, her breathing shallow but controlled. The midwife gently reassured her, while her mother, Karen, stood nearby, clutching Alyssa's hand and whispering words of encouragement. "You're doing great, sweetheart," Karen said, her voice steady despite the whirlwind of emotions she was feeling. Alyssa had been through so much in the past 9 months. Being a pregnant teenager was hard enough, but Alyssa's journey had been anything but ordinary. From the moment she discovered she was pregnant, Alyssa had faced endless challenges. Whispers at school, judgmental glances from strangers, and even tension within her own family. Karen had been supportive, but Alyssa's father, Tom, had taken the news poorly. "She's too young," he had declared, storming out of the room the night Alyssa revealed her pregnancy. It had taken months for him to come around, and even now, he was conspicuously absent from the hospital. But it wasn't just the societal pressure that made Alyssa's pregnancy unique, it was the baby itself. It all began during Alyssa's first ultrasound. Karen had accompanied her, sitting nervously in the small, sterile room as the technician applied the cool gel to Alyssa's belly. The screen flickered to life, and for a moment, everything seemed normal. The tiny heartbeat, the faint outline of a growing life, it was all as expected. But then the technician paused, her brow furrowing slightly. "Is everything okay?" Alyssa asked, her voice trembling. The technician hesitated before replying. "It's probably nothing to worry about. But I'm noticing something unusual. The baby's lungs appear to be developing differently." "Differently?" Karen interjected, her protective instincts kicking in. "What does that mean?" "It's hard to say at this stage," the technician said, trying to sound reassuring. "But I'd recommend following up with a specialist." That appointment marked the beginning of a series of tests and consultations. Alyssa found herself shuttled between doctors, each of them more puzzled than the last. The baby's lungs seemed to be forming structures that resembled gills, a feature completely unheard of in human development. Yet despite this anomaly, the baby appeared healthy, its heart beating strong and steady with every scan. As the pregnancy progressed, Alyssa became a subject of fascination within the medical community. Specialists from across the country reached out, offering theories and requesting to observe her case. Some believed it was a rare genetic mutation, while others speculated about environmental factors. A few even suggested that Alyssa's baby could represent a new step in human evolution. For Alyssa, however, the attention was overwhelming. She didn't want to be a scientific case study, she just wanted to have a healthy baby. She tried to ignore the flurry of interest, focusing instead on preparing for motherhood. Karen supported her every step of the way, shielding her as best she could from the relentless questions and invasive curiosity. Now, as Alyssa labored in the birthing tub, the weight of the past 9 months seemed to melt away. All that mattered was bringing her baby into the world safely. "Alyssa, one more push," the midwife said gently. "You've got this." Alyssa summoned every ounce of strength she had left, her muscles trembling as she gave one final, powerful push. The room filled with a collective gasp as the baby emerged, slippery and pink, its tiny body wriggling in the water. For a moment, there was silence. The midwife reached down, lifting the baby carefully from the tub. Alyssa's heart pounded as she searched the midwife's face for any sign of reassurance. Then, the baby let out a soft, gurgling cry, except it wasn't quite like any cry Alyssa had ever heard. It was almost musical, like the sound of bubbles rising to the surface of a stream. The midwife's eyes widened as she held the baby closer. "Alyssa," she said, her voice trembling, "your baby is breathing underwater." Karen let out a strangled gasp, her hand flying to her mouth. Alyssa, still catching her breath, blinked in confusion. "What do you mean?" she asked, her voice hoarse. "Look," the midwife said, lowering the baby back into the water. The newborn's tiny chest rose and fell, its breathing steady and calm despite being fully submerged. Small, delicate gill-like structures on either side of its neck fluttered faintly, drawing oxygen from the water. Alyssa stared in disbelief. Is that normal? The midwife shook her head, her expression a mixture of awe and concern. Oh, but it's incredible. Your baby is perfectly fine. Healthy even. But this is something I've never seen before. Karen moved closer, her maternal instincts kicking in as she peered at her grandchild. She's beautiful, Karen whispered, tears streaming down her face. And she's a miracle. Word of the underwater birth spread quickly. By the next morning, reporters had gathered outside the hospital, their cameras trained on the entrance. Scientists and doctors from around the world flooded the hospital with requests to study the baby, desperate to understand the implications of her unique condition. For Alyssa, it was both exhilarating and terrifying. She was grateful that her baby was healthy, but the sudden media frenzy made her feel like she was losing control of the situation. She didn't want her child to be treated like a sideshow attraction or a scientific experiment. As she held her baby close, she whispered softly, "I'll protect you, no matter what." The hospital staff worked tirelessly to shield Alyssa and her baby from the media storm. Karen became a fierce advocate, ensuring that no one could get near them without her approval. Even Alyssa's father, Tom, who had finally come around after seeing photos of his granddaughter, joined in to support them. Still, questions lingered. How would the baby adapt as she grew? Would she be able to live a normal life? And most importantly, what did her condition mean for the future of humanity? Alyssa didn't have the answers. But as she gazed into her baby's bright, curious eyes, she knew one thing for certain. This was only the beginning of an extraordinary journey. Over the next few days, the media frenzy surrounding Alyssa's baby intensified. News outlets around the world picked up the story, dubbing the infant the aquatic miracle. Speculations ran wild, with some calling her a scientific breakthrough, while others spun fantastical theories about her being a sign of evolutionary advancement. Alyssa, however, was more concerned with her daughter's health and well-being than the opinions of the outside world. The doctors, while protective of Alyssa and her baby, were also determined to understand her unique condition. A team of pediatric specialists conducted thorough examinations, marveling at the gill-like structures on the baby's neck. Despite their curiosity, they were careful to prioritize her comfort, ensuring that the tests weren't invasive or distressing. To everyone's astonishment, the baby appeared to be perfectly healthy. The gills, though functional, didn't interfere with her ability to breathe air. In fact, the doctors discovered that she could seamlessly switch between breathing underwater and breathing air, a trait that had never been documented in humans. For Alyssa, adjusting to life with her extraordinary child was both a blessing and a challenge. She named her daughter Marina, a nod to her unique connection to water. Marina was a calm, curious baby who seemed happiest when submerged in water. Alyssa quickly learned that bath time wasn't just a necessity, it was an essential part of Marina's daily routine. The sound of water lapping against her tiny body seemed to soothe her, and she often giggled and splashed with an infectious joy that melted Alyssa's heart. But raising Marina wasn't without its difficulties. Alyssa faced constant pressure from the media, scientists, and even strangers who were desperate to catch a glimpse of the miracle baby. Karen became Alyssa's fiercest protector, fielding calls and visits from reporters while ensuring that Marina's privacy was maintained. "I know this is overwhelming," Karen said one evening as she rocked Marina to sleep. "But you're doing an amazing job, Alyssa. Don't let anyone make you feel otherwise." Alyssa smiled weakly, grateful for her mother's support. "Thanks, Ma. I want Marina to have a normal life. Or as normal as it can be. And she will," Karen assured her. "Because she has you." Despite Alyssa's efforts to shield Marina from the spotlight, the world's fascination with her daughter continued to grow. Offers poured in from researchers and organizations, each promising to provide funding or support in exchange for access to Marina. Alyssa declined them all, determined to protect her daughter from becoming a scientific curiosity. But one offer stood out. A renowned marine biologist named Dr. Eleanor Green reached out personally, requesting a private meeting with Alyssa. Unlike the others, Dr. Green didn't frame her request as a professional opportunity. Instead, she approached Alyssa as a mother and scientist who simply wanted to help. During their meeting, Dr. Green explained her perspective. "I understand your hesitation," she said gently. "Marina is your daughter, not a research subject. But if there's anything I can do to support her development or answer your questions, I'd be honored to help." Alyssa hesitated, studying the older woman's kind eyes. "I just want what's best for her," she admitted. "I don't want her to feel different or isolated because of her condition." Dr. Green nodded. "I promise to respect your boundaries. My goal is simply to provide guidance and resources if you need them. Marina's well-being comes first." After much consideration, Alyssa agreed to let Dr. Green observe Marina's development, as long as it was done on her terms. The collaboration proved to be a turning point, offering Alyssa valuable insights while preserving Marina's privacy. As Marina grew, her unique abilities became more pronounced. By the time she was a year old, she could hold her breath underwater for minutes at a time, her movements graceful and instinctive. Alyssa often took her to a local aquatic center, where Marina's joy was palpable as she swam effortlessly in the shallow pool. But the visits weren't without their challenges. Other parents often stared, whispering among themselves as they watched Marina dive and play with a natural ease that seemed almost otherworldly. Alyssa did her best to ignore the judgmental glances, focusing instead on Marina's happiness. One day, a young boy approached Marina in the pool, his curiosity outweighing his hesitation. "How do you do that?" he asked, watching as Marina flipped underwater like a tiny dolphin. Marina giggled, her gills fluttering slightly as she surfaced. "I just can," she said simply, her innocence disarming. The boy's mother hurried over, pulling him away with a disapproving look. "Come on, let's go," she said sharply, shooting Alyssa a glare. Alyssa's heart sank, but she kept her composure, scooping Marina into her arms. "You're amazing, sweetheart," she whispered, kissing her daughter's wet cheek. "Don't let anyone make you feel otherwise." As Marina approached her third birthday, Alyssa faced a new dilemma: enrolling her in preschool. While she wanted Marina to socialize and make friends, she worried about how her daughter's abilities would be perceived. After weeks of research and deliberation, Alyssa found a small, progressive school with a focus on inclusivity. During the enrollment meeting, she was upfront with the principal about Marina's condition, bracing herself for the usual mix of skepticism and disbelief. To her surprise, the principal responded with kindness and understanding. "Every child is unique in their own way," she said, "and we're committed to providing a safe and supportive environment for Marina." Alyssa left the meeting feeling a glimmer of hope. For the first time, she felt like Marina might have a chance at a normal childhood. On Marina's first day of preschool, Alyssa watched nervously as her daughter walked into the classroom, clutching her tiny backpack. She was acutely aware of the whispers and glances from other parents, but she focused on Marina, who waved confidently before disappearing into the room. To Alyssa's relief, Marina adapted quickly. Her natural charm and curiosity drew other children to her, and her teachers marveled at her intelligence and creativity. While her abilities remained a closely guarded secret, Marina's vibrant personality shone through, endearing her to everyone she met. One afternoon, as Alyssa picked Marina up from school, the teacher pulled her aside. "Marina is such a joy to have in class," she said warmly. "She's kind, curious, and so full of life. You've done an incredible job raising her." Alyssa smiled, her heart swelling with pride. "Thank you. She's my miracle." As Marina continued to grow, her unique abilities became more integrated into her everyday life. By the time she turned 5, her affinity for water was undeniable. She had learned to swim before she could even walk properly, and her movements in the water were so fluid that they resembled a natural-born aquatic creature. Alyssa encouraged her passion, enrolling her in swimming classes at the local community center. Marina quickly outpaced the other children, not only in skill but also in her comfort underwater. The instructors were amazed at her abilities, though Alyssa had taken care to ensure that Marina's gills remained a secret. To everyone else, Marina was just an exceptionally gifted swimmer. One weekend, Alyssa took Marina to the beach for the first time. The sight of the ocean left Marina breathless with excitement. She ran toward the waves, laughing and splashing as the water lapped at her feet. Alyssa watched from a distance, her heart swelling with a mixture of joy and apprehension. "Don't go too far, sweetheart," Alyssa called out, keeping a close eye on her daughter. Marina turned back, her face beaming. "Come with me, Mom. The water feels so good." Alyssa hesitated. She had always loved the ocean, but Marina's connection to it was something deeper, almost spiritual. As she waded into the shallows to join her daughter, she couldn't help but marvel at how natural Marina looked, as though the water were her true home. For hours, they played in the surf, building sandcastles and chasing waves. At one point, Marina dove under a particularly large wave, staying submerged for what felt like an impossibly long time. Alyssa's heart raced as she scanned the water, but before she could panic, Marina surfaced several feet away, her face glowing with exhilaration. "Mom, I can see so much underwater," Marina exclaimed. "It's like a whole other world down there." Alyssa smiled, though her thoughts were clouded with concern. She knew that Marina's abilities made her extraordinary, but they also set her apart in ways that could make her life more complicated as she grew older. Back at home that evening, Alyssa and Karen sat together in the living room, watching Marina draw pictures of fish and underwater landscapes. Her creativity seemed boundless, and Alyssa couldn't help but wonder what the future held for her daughter. "She's so special," Karen said, her voice filled with admiration. "You've done an amazing job raising her, Alyssa." Alyssa sighed, running a hand through her hair. "I just worry about how the world will treat her when they find out. She's too young to understand how different she is, but one day she'll have questions. And I don't know how to answer them." Karen placed a reassuring hand on her daughter's shoulder. "You'll figure it out just like you've figured out everything else. Marina is strong and so are you." As Marina entered elementary school, Alyssa began to notice subtle changes in her daughter's behavior. Marina was still her bubbly, curious self, but she started asking more questions about her abilities. One evening, as Alyssa tucked her into bed, Marina looked up at her with wide, inquisitive eyes. "Mom, why do I love water so much?" Marina asked. "Why can I stay underwater longer than everyone else?" Alyssa froze for a moment, unsure of how to respond. She had always known this conversation would come, but she hadn't expected it so soon. Taking a deep breath, she sat down on the edge of Marina's bed. "You're special, Marina," Alyssa said gently. "You were born with a gift that makes you different from other people. It's something that makes you unique, and it's a part of what makes you so amazing." Marina frowned, her small hands clutching the blanket. "But why am I different? Did I do something wrong?" Alyssa's heart broke at the question. She pulled Marina into a hug, stroking her hair. "Oh, sweetheart, you didn't do anything wrong. Being different isn't a bad thing, it's what makes you. And I wouldn't change a single thing about you." Marina seemed to consider this for a moment before nodding. "I just want to be like everyone else." "You are like everyone else," Alyssa said firmly. "You're smart, kind, and so full of life. The only difference is that you have a connection to water that's all your own. And that's something to be proud of." Over time, Marina began to embrace her abilities more openly, though Alyssa remained cautious about who she shared them with. At school, Marina excelled in her science classes, particularly when it came to marine biology. Her teachers often commented on her uncanny understanding of aquatic ecosystems, praising her for her insightful observations. One day, Marina came home with a flyer for a summer camp focused on marine conservation. "Mom, can I go?" she asked eagerly. "It's at the aquarium, and we get to learn about sea animals and how to take care of the ocean." Alyssa hesitated, worried about how Marina's abilities might be noticed in such a setting. But seeing the excitement in her daughter's eyes, she couldn't say no. "Okay," she said with a smile. "But remember, we have to be careful about showing off your talents." Marina nodded solemnly. "I promise, Mom." The camp turned out to be a transformative experience for Marina. She bonded with other children who shared her passion for the ocean and impressed the instructors with her knowledge and enthusiasm. One day, the group was taken on a snorkeling excursion, and Marina's natural abilities shone through despite her efforts to hold back. "You're like a fish in the water," one of the instructors joked as Marina effortlessly swam alongside a school of brightly colored fish. "Have you been practicing?" Marina just smiled, keeping her secret to herself. As the camp came to an end, Marina was awarded a certificate for her outstanding participation and contributions. Alyssa couldn't have been prouder as she watched her daughter beam with pride, clutching the certificate tightly in her hands. Driving home, Marina turned to her mother with a thoughtful expression. "Mom, I think I know what I want to do when I grow up." "What's that?" Alyssa asked, glancing at her in the rearview mirror. "I want to help the ocean," Marina said with conviction. "I want to take care of it and all the animals that live in it." Alyssa smiled, her heart swelling with pride. "That sounds like a wonderful dream, sweetheart. And I have no doubt you'll make it come true." As Marina grew older, her dream of helping the ocean only deepened. By the time she was 10, her bedroom was a shrine to marine life. Posters of dolphins and whales covered the walls, shelves were filled with books about the ocean, and a small aquarium in the corner housed her pet fish, whom she affectionately named Splash and Bubbles. Alyssa encouraged her daughter's passion, often taking her on trips to aquariums, nature reserves, and coastal areas. These excursions became bonding moments, filled with laughter and awe as Marina marveled at the wonders of the sea. For Alyssa, it was heartwarming to see her daughters so confident and at ease in the water, but it also reminded her of the unique challenges Marina would face as she grew older. One summer, Alyssa and Karen decided to take Marina on a special trip to a renowned marine sanctuary. The sanctuary offered guided boat tours, allowing visitors to see dolphins, sea turtles, and other marine life in their natural habitat. Marina could barely contain her excitement as they boarded the boat, her eyes wide with anticipation. As the boat cruised through the crystal-clear waters, the guide pointed out various marine species and shared fascinating facts about the ecosystem. Marina hung on to every word, her curiosity evident as she asked thoughtful questions. "How do dolphins communicate with each other?" she asked, her voice tinged with wonder. "They use a combination of clicks, whistles, and body language," the guide explained. "It's like their own underwater language." Marina nodded, absorbing the information like a sponge. She leaned over the edge of the boat, watching intently as a pod of dolphins swam gracefully alongside them. At one point during the tour, the guide mentioned that the sanctuary was conducting research on coral reef restoration. Marina's ears perked up, and she turned to Alyssa with an eager expression. "Mom, can we help with that? I want to learn how to save the coral reefs." Alyssa smiled, touched by her daughter's enthusiasm. "We'll look into it, sweetheart. Maybe there's a program we can join." The trip to the sanctuary left a lasting impression on Marina. When they returned home, she threw herself into learning everything she could about coral reefs and marine conservation. She spent hours reading articles, watching documentaries, and even writing letters to marine biologists, asking for advice on how to get involved. One day, Marina came home from school clutching a brochure for a youth program focused on environmental advocacy. The program, hosted by a local nonprofit, aimed to empower young people to take action on issues like climate change and habitat preservation. "Mom, can I join this?" Marina asked, her eyes shining with excitement. "They have a project about saving coral reefs." Alyssa studied the brochure, impressed by the program's mission. "Of course, sweetheart," she said. "This sounds like a wonderful opportunity." The program turned out to be a perfect fit for Marina. She thrived in the collaborative environment, working alongside other passionate young people to develop initiatives and raise awareness about environmental issues. One of their projects involved creating a campaign to reduce plastic waste, which they presented at a local community event. Marina's portion of the presentation focused on the impact of plastic pollution on marine life. Standing in front of an audience of parents, teachers, and local officials, she spoke with a confidence that belied her age. "Every year, millions of marine animals are harmed by plastic waste," Marina said, her voice steady and clear. "But we can all make a difference by reducing our use of single-use plastics and recycling responsibly. Together, we can protect the ocean and the creatures that call it home." The audience erupted into applause, and Alyssa couldn't have been prouder. Watching her daughter inspire others with her passion and knowledge was a moment she would never forget. As Marina's involvement in the program grew, so did her recognition within the community. Local newspapers ran stories about the group's initiatives, often highlighting Marina's leadership and dedication. One article even referred to her as the young ocean advocate, a title that filled Alyssa with pride and a touch of trepidation. While Marina's achievements were remarkable, Alyssa couldn't shake the feeling that her daughter's secret abilities would eventually come to light. She had done everything in her power to protect Marina's privacy, but the world's fascination with her unique connection to water was never far from her mind. One day, as Marina and Alyssa walked home from a community event, Marina turned to her mother with a thoughtful expression. "Mom, do you think I'm different?" Alyssa paused, caught off guard by the question. "Why do you ask, sweetheart?" Marina shrugged, her gaze fixed on the sidewalk. "Sometimes I feel like I'm not like other kids. I mean, I love the water so much, and I can do things that no one else can. Is that bad?" Alyssa knelt down, placing her hands on Marina's shoulders. "Being different isn't bad, Marina. It's what makes you special. The things that make you unique are the same things that give you the power to make a difference in the world." Marina looked up at her mother, her eyes searching for reassurance. "But what if people don't understand?" "They might not at first," Alyssa admitted. "But the people who love you and care about you will always see how amazing you are. And as long as you stay true to yourself, that's what matters most." Marina nodded, a small smile tugging at her lips. "Thanks, Ma. I'll remember that." As Marina approached her teenage years, her passion for marine conservation only grew stronger. Her knowledge about the ocean and its ecosystems rivaled that of many adults, and she often found herself being invited to speak at local schools and community events. Alyssa was in awe of her daughter's ability to captivate an audience, turning complex topics into accessible and inspiring messages. One summer, Marina was offered the opportunity of a lifetime, a spot in an elite marine biology summer program for young environmentalists. The program, held at a prestigious research institute on the coast, would allow Marina to work alongside leading scientists and gain hands-on experience in marine conservation projects. "Mom, can I please go?" Marina pleaded, clutching the acceptance letter. "It's everything I've ever dreamed of." Alyssa smiled, her heart swelling with pride. "Of course, sweetheart. You've earned this." The program required Marina to live on-site for 6 weeks, which made Alyssa a little nervous. But seeing her daughter's excitement and determination, she knew it was the right decision. "Just remember to call me every day," Alyssa said, hugging Marina tightly on the day she left. "I want to hear all about it." The program turned out to be even more transformative than Marina had imagined. She worked alongside scientists to monitor coral reef health, participated in cleanup dives, and even helped design a prototype for a biodegradable fishing net. Marina's peers quickly recognized her talent and passion, often turning to her for guidance during group projects. One afternoon, while snorkeling with her team to collect data on fish populations, Marina noticed something unusual. A section of the reef appeared to be thriving in an area that had previously been reported as degraded. She signaled to her instructor, a marine biologist named Dr. Lin, and pointed to the vibrant coral. "This doesn't match the data we were given," Marina said after surfacing. "Do you think the reef is recovering?" Dr. Lin examined the area and nodded, clearly impressed. "You have a sharp eye, Marina. It does look like the coral is regenerating. This could be an important discovery." The team spent the next few days studying the site, and their findings suggested that certain environmental conditions in the area were promoting coral growth. Dr. Lin credited Marina with identifying the anomaly, calling her a natural scientist. While Marina thrived at the program, Alyssa found herself missing her daughter more than she had anticipated. She often stared at the framed photos of Marina on the walls, remembering the countless moments they had shared by the water. Karen, always the voice of reason, reassured Alyssa that Marina was exactly where she needed to be. "She's spreading her wings, Alyssa," Karen said over coffee one morning. "And you've given her the tools to do it. Be proud of her." "I am," Alyssa replied, wiping away a tear. "I just can't believe how quickly she's growing up." When Marina returned home at the end of the summer, she was bursting with stories about her experiences. She showed Alyssa a journal filled with sketches, data, and notes, her enthusiasm lighting up the room. "Mom, you won't believe what we discovered," Marina exclaimed, flipping through the pages. "We found a way to use certain algae to help coral reefs recover faster. Dr. Lin said it could change how we approach reef restoration. Alyssa listened intently, marveling at how much her daughter had learned. That's incredible, Marina. I'm so proud of you. Marina beamed, her confidence shining through. Thanks, Ma. I couldn't have done any of this without you. As Marina settled back into her routine, she began thinking about how she could apply what she had learned to her own community. With Alyssa's help, she organized a beach cleanup event, inviting friends, neighbors, and local organizations to join. The turnout exceeded all expectations, with dozens of volunteers showing up to collect trash and learn about the importance of protecting marine ecosystems. During the event, Marina gave a short speech, her voice steady and passionate as she addressed the crowd. The ocean gives us so much food, oxygen, and beauty. It's up to us to take care of it in return. Every piece of trash we pick up today makes a difference. The crowd erupted into applause, and Alyssa couldn't help but feel a swell of pride as she watched her daughter take the lead. Despite Marina's growing confidence and accomplishments, there were still moments when she grappled with the reality of her uniqueness. One evening, as they sat on the porch watching the sunset, Marina turned to Alyssa with a thoughtful expression. "Mom, do you think I'll ever meet someone like me?" she asked softly. Alyssa hesitated, unsure of how to respond. "I don't know, sweetheart," she admitted. "But what I do know is that you're not alone. You have me, Grandma, and so many people who love and support you." Marina nodded, though the longing in her eyes lingered. "I just wonder sometimes. Like, maybe there's a reason I'm this way." Alyssa reached out, taking her daughter's hand in hers. "There is a reason, Marina. You're here to make a difference, and you already are. You're changing the world, one step at a time." Marina smiled, her mother's words giving her a sense of purpose. "Thanks, Ma. I'll keep trying." As Marina entered her teenage years, her efforts in marine conservation began to gain national attention. She was invited to speak at conferences, featured in articles, and even received an award for her contributions to environmental advocacy. Through it all, Alyssa remained by her side, offering guidance and support as Marina navigated the challenges of growing up in the spotlight. Marina's journey was far from ordinary, but with her mother's unwavering love and her own determination, she was proving that being different wasn't a limitation, it was a gift. By the time Marina turned 16, her name was recognized far beyond her local community. She had become a symbol of youth-driven environmental change, and her work with coral reef restoration and marine conservation was featured in national magazines and online platforms. Despite the accolades and attention, Marina remained humble, crediting her mother and the people who supported her for helping her along the way. One evening, as she prepared to attend a major environmental awards ceremony, Alyssa watched her daughter with a mix of pride and nostalgia. Marina stood in front of the mirror, adjusting the collar of her dress. Her poise and confidence radiated, but Alyssa couldn't help but see the little girl who had once splashed around in their backyard pool, full of wonder and curiosity. "You look beautiful," Alyssa said, stepping into the room. "Are you ready for tonight?" Marina turned and smiled. "Thanks, Ma. I think so. But it still feels a little surreal." "Well, you've earned it," Alyssa said, walking over to fix a loose strand of Marina's hair. "Just remember, no matter how big the stage, you belong there." Marina nodded, her confidence bolstered by her mother's words. "I'll remember." The awards ceremony was held at a grand venue overlooking the ocean. Environmentalists, scientists, and philanthropists from around the world gathered to celebrate the accomplishments of individuals dedicated to protecting the planet. Marina was one of the youngest recipients, and as her name was called, a wave of applause filled the room. Taking the stage, Marina felt a surge of nerves but quickly steadied herself. She looked out at the audience, her mother's encouraging smile anchoring her. "Thank you," she began, her voice clear and strong. "This award isn't just for me. It's for everyone who believes in the power of change. The ocean is our lifeline, and it's up to all of us to protect it." Her speech was met with a standing ovation, and as Marina stepped off the stage, she was greeted by a crowd of well-wishers. Alyssa hugged her tightly, tears of pride streaming down her face. "You were amazing," she whispered. "Thanks, Mom," Marina said, her own eyes glistening. "I couldn't have done it without you." Despite her growing fame, Marina remained grounded, focusing on her studies and continuing her conservation work. She spent her weekends volunteering at the local aquarium, where she led educational tours and mentored younger kids interested in marine biology. Her natural charisma and deep knowledge of the ocean made her a favorite among visitors and staff alike. One day, as Marina was guiding a group of children through the aquarium, she noticed a young girl standing off to the side, her eyes wide with wonder. The girl's parents explained that she was fascinated by marine life but too shy to ask questions. Marina knelt down to the girl's level, offering a warm smile. "What's your favorite sea animal?" she asked gently. The girl hesitated before whispering, "Dolphins. They're amazing, aren't they?" Marina said, her enthusiasm infectious. "Did you know dolphins have names for each other, just like we do? They use special whistles to call each other." The girl's eyes lit up, and she began asking question after question, her shyness melting away. By the end of the tour, she was beaming, clutching Marina's hand as they explored the final exhibit. "Thank you," the girl's parents said as they left. "You've inspired her more than you know." Marina smiled, her heart full. That's what it's all about. At home, Alyssa watched as Marina balanced her growing responsibilities with the typical challenges of being a teenager. There were moments of doubt, moments when Marina felt the weight of expectations pressing down on her. But Alyssa was always there to remind her of her strength. "Mom, what if I can't live up to what people expect of me?" Marina asked one evening, her voice tinged with worry. "You don't have to live up to anyone's expectations but your own," Alyssa replied. "Remember why you started this journey. It wasn't for awards or recognition. It was because you love the ocean and want to make a difference. That's all that matters." Marina nodded, her mother's words giving her clarity. "You're right. I just want to do my best." "And you will," Alyssa said with a reassuring smile. "You already are." As Marina approached her high school graduation, she began receiving offers from prestigious universities around the country, many of them eager to support her marine biology studies. The choice was daunting, but Marina ultimately decided on a program that aligned with her goals of combining research with advocacy. At her graduation ceremony, Alyssa and Karen sat in the front row, cheering loudly as Marina walked across the stage to receive her diploma. The principal even gave a special mention to Marina during her speech, commending her for her leadership and contributions to the community. Later that evening, as the family celebrated at home, Marina made a heartfelt toast. "To my mom and grandma, who have always believed in me and supported me no matter what. I wouldn't be here without you." Karen raised her glass, tears in her eyes. "To Marina, the bravest, brightest, and most wonderful granddaughter anyone could ask for." Alyssa hugged Marina tightly, her heart full of gratitude. "To your future, sweetheart. I can't wait to see all the amazing things you'll do." As Marina embarked on her college journey, she found herself entering a world filled with endless opportunities and challenges. The marine biology program she had chosen was among the best in the country, offering access to state-of-the-art research facilities and a faculty of renowned scientists. Though she was nervous about leaving home, Alyssa reassured her that she was ready to take this next step. "You've worked so hard for this, Marina," Alyssa said as they unpacked her belongings in her dorm room. "I know you're going to thrive here." Marina smiled, though her eyes glistened with tears. "I'll miss you, Mom." "I'll miss you too," Alyssa replied, pulling her into a hug. "But this is your time to shine. And I'm just a phone call away." College life was a whirlwind for Marina. Her classes were rigorous, but her passion for marine biology made the long hours of studying and research worthwhile. She quickly became a standout student, impressing her professors with her knowledge and innovative ideas. One of her first projects involved studying the effects of climate change on coral reefs. Marina spent countless hours in the lab, analyzing data and developing strategies for reef restoration. Her unique perspective, shaped by her personal connection to the ocean, set her apart from her peers. During a class presentation, Marina proposed a groundbreaking idea for using biodegradable materials to create artificial reefs that could support marine life while natural reefs recovered. Her professor, Dr. Alvarez, was so impressed that he encouraged her to apply for a research grant to develop the concept further. This has the potential to make a real impact, Marina, Dr. Alvarez said. You should be proud of your work. Marina beamed, feeling both validated and inspired. Thank you, Dr. Alvarez. I'll do my best. Outside of her studies, Marina joined several student organizations focused on environmental advocacy. She quickly became a leader within the campus community, organizing events and campaigns to raise awareness about marine conservation. One of her proudest achievements was coordinating a campus-wide beach cleanup, which drew hundreds of participants and removed tons of debris from the shoreline. The event garnered local media attention, and Marina was interviewed by a reporter who asked about her motivations. The ocean is more than just a resource. It's a vital part of our planet's ecosystem, Marina said. We all have a responsibility to protect it for future generations. The interview was widely shared, and Marina's growing reputation as a young leader in marine conservation continued to spread. Alyssa, watching from home, couldn't help but feel a swell of pride as she saw her daughter's words resonate with so many people. During her sophomore year, Marina received an invitation to join a prestigious research expedition to study marine biodiversity in the Pacific Ocean. The opportunity was a dream come true, but it also meant spending several months at sea, a daunting prospect for someone so young. Are you sure about this? Alyssa asked during one of their phone calls. It's a big commitment. I'm sure, Mom, Marina replied, her voice filled with determination. This is what I've always wanted to do. I know it won't be easy, but I'm ready. Alyssa sighed, knowing there was no stopping her daughter when she set her mind to something. Then go for it, sweetheart. I'm so proud of you. The expedition was a transformative experience for Marina. Living aboard a research vessel, she worked alongside a team of scientists to collect data on marine life and monitor the health of underwater ecosystems. The long days and challenging conditions only deepened her love for the ocean and strengthened her resolve to protect it. One of the most memorable moments of the expedition came during a dive to explore a previously uncharted coral reef. As Marina descended into the depths, she was struck by the vibrant colors and intricate structures of the reef. It was a reminder of the beauty and fragility of the ocean, and she felt a renewed sense of purpose. Later that evening, as the team gathered to discuss their findings, Marina shared her thoughts. This reef is a testament to the resilience of nature, she said. But it's also a reminder of how much work we have to do to protect places like this. Her words resonated with the team, many of whom were seasoned scientists. You have a way of seeing the bigger picture, Marina, one of them remarked. It's inspiring. When Marina returned home after the expedition, she brought back not only valuable data but also a wealth of experiences and memories. Alyssa listened intently as Marina recounted her adventures, her excitement infectious. It sounds like you found your calling out there, Alyssa said, smiling. I did, Marina replied. I want to dedicate my life to this, Mom. The ocean needs us now more than ever. And you're exactly the person to lead the way, Alyssa said, her voice filled with conviction. I'm so proud of you, Marina. As Marina entered her final year of college, she began planning for the next phase of her journey. She applied to graduate programs in marine biology, hoping to continue her research and expand her impact. At the same time, she remained committed to advocacy, using her platform to inspire others to take action. Her senior thesis, which focused on the use of technology in coral reef restoration, earned her top honors and was even published in a scientific journal. The recognition was a testament to her hard work and dedication, but Marina remained humble, crediting her success to the support of her family and mentors. On the day of her college graduation, Alyssa and Karen sat in the audience, their faces glowing with pride as Marina walked across the stage to receive her diploma. It was a moment they would never forget, a culmination of years of perseverance, passion, and love. As Marina stood on the stage, she looked out at the crowd, her gaze landing on her mother. In that moment, she felt a deep sense of gratitude for the journey that had brought her here, and for the woman who had been by her side every step of the way.